Sam Bankman-Fried, in case you haven't heard of him before, he's the disgraced former chief executive officer of FTX. He was once hailed as the most generous billionaire in the entire world by major mainstream media outlets. And this is the very same guy whose actions caused both individual and institutional crypto investors to lose billions of dollars. Sam Bankman-Fried used to be known as the richest and youngest crypto billionaire in the world. He even famously made it onto the prestigious cover of Forbes magazine. But recently, as you might know, Sam was officially sentenced to a long term in prison. Even though he is currently behind bars, Sam still somehow has an active social media account. And out of nowhere, he suddenly posted a simple GM, which is common crypto slang for saying good morning, straight from his jail cell. That unexpected message. It really got people in the crypto community excited. The price of FTX's token shot up by 56 to 10% that day. Everyone was just so hyped up. But now it's come back down. Before we get into all the excitement about whether Sam Bankman-Fried is going to make a comeback in the industry, I just feel like I can't let it go. The pain is still fresh, so I have to tell you about how Sam rose to fame in the crypto world. How did he rise to fame? Just how rich did he get? And how wild was it when everything came crashing down? I'm going to tell you all about it in this video. You can support information about Sam Bankman-Fried, the crypto king who took the world by storm, by scanning this QR code. Or if you want to support the Thai Money Monster channel, it's super easy. Just like, share, and comment to chat with me. If any of you have ever been a victim of crypto and you still feel it today, reach out and let me know. And the thing I'd love for you to do most is, don't forget. Please hit subscribe for the Thai Money Monster channel, so if I upload a new video, we'll get to see each other again, okay? Thank you! Let's start with an update. So Sam Bankman-Fried, at first, he was actually sentenced to 110 years in prison, but somehow that got reduced to 25 years for charges of fraud and money laundering. And when I said he messaged from prison, I mean he sent a message through a platform called X. The message was super short, just GM, which means good morning. So he messaged from prison, but anyway. They've already come out and said that the person who sent that message wasn't actually Sam himself. It was like a friend of Sam's or someone else sent it for him. But when that hello message came out from prison, it really got everyone excited. It made the FTT coin shoot up by like 56%, up to around $1.20 to $1.23. But now it's dropped back down to just a little over $1, pretty much back to where it was before. You could say, well, maybe it was just a message meant to shock people. Who knows? Because who can really tell what they're thinking, right? But people in the industry got really excited, and there were other things happening at the same time, too. Right after that message came out from Sam Bankman-Fried's account, this news also broke. FTX is processing refunds for customers. That's good news. FTX Recovery Trust announced that they've started the third round of repayments, totaling $1.6 billion. This will begin on September 30th, so by the time this video's out, it's probably already started. This third round of compensation is a really good sign that FTX might be on the road to recovery after going bankrupt back in 2022. They also mentioned that if FTX were to make a comeback, it would probably involve changing the CEO. But honestly, even if they do change the CEO, even if the whole organization changes, it still doesn't feel good. Because what happened was so painful and it still stings. It still feels so fresh. Back then, it was like, wow, let's take a look back at how Sam Bankman-Fried managed to become the youngest and richest crypto billionaire, sweeping up everything the way he did. It must have been really wild. Let's rewind a bit, just in case anyone doesn't know who this is. Sam Bankman-Fried was the owner of a company called FTX, which was a crypto exchange valued at $32 billion. That's no small amount, and it was no joke. There were millions of customers depositing money, and the daily trading volume was in the tens of millions of dollars. At the time of his huge success, Sam Bankman-Fried was the richest and youngest crypto king in the industry. But then he committed one of the biggest financial crimes in history, and when he was sentenced for the first time, he was hit with a prison term of 110 years. When FTX was at its peak, you really can't deny that everything was just pouring in for them. They were a major sponsor of the Super Bowl, global basketball events, and not just the Super Bowl, celebrities, influencers, anyone who was a big deal worldwide was out there promoting FTX, even to the point that politicians or even former world leaders like Tony Blair and Bill Clinton, Sam was able to reach out and talk to them directly. So if you're wondering how Sam managed to do all that, it's simple. Money. A massive amount of money. So the real question, I think, is where did Sam get all that money from in the first place? Let's dig into it. So Sam, right? He owns FTX and another company called Alameda Research. When people hear Alameda Research, they tend to think, oh, it must be about something research related, right? But that's not it at all. It wasn't created for research. It's more like they picked the name to make people misunderstand the agenda or the real purpose of Alameda Research, so people wouldn't really notice anything suspicious. Because that company, Alameda Research, right? It's actually used for trading. And one of Alameda Research's standout achievements that made a lot of money for Sam Bankman-Fried was arbitrage. If you don't know what that means, arbitrage is basically buying something where it's sold cheaply and then selling it where it's sold for more. It's about taking advantage of price differences, buying at a lower listed price and selling at a higher one. And Sam Bankman-Fried used Alameda Research to do Bitcoin arbitrage. So how did he do it? He basically pulled out a world map, so to speak. At that time, just to give you a rough idea, not exact numbers, let's say the price of Bitcoin in the US and Europe was about $15,000 per Bitcoin. But over in Asia, like in Japan and that region, the price of Bitcoin was around $20,000 per Bitcoin. Again, just to be clear, these are made-up numbers. They're not exact. So Sam would use Alameda to buy Bitcoin from the US side and then sell it in Japan. That way, he'd make a nice, risk-free profit of about $5,000 per Bitcoin. That's what's called arbitrage. And this arbitrage mission, it was said at the time, made Sam Bankman-Fried tens of millions of dollars. It was trading with basically zero risk. But, well, it's just that. But that's just a few $1 million. It's nowhere near tens of billions, right? Is that really all there is to this way of making money? Actually, no, Sam had another method, building an image. And honestly, Sam was really, really good at creating a public persona. Back then, he even hired Kevin O'Leary, the commentator from Shark Tank, you know? O'Leary is notorious for being super tough when it comes to picking entrepreneurs. He's blunt and harsh with his comments, all to choose who gets funding, right? So that's exactly what Sam did. He brought this specific individual in to be the official spokesperson for FTX, because Sam saw that this was exactly the kind of image that would win over entrepreneurs, and it really worked. At that time, the company was only an incredibly short 2 years old, but she was able to successfully raise a massive amount of venture capital, and through these strategic moves, took the company's valuation from $900 million all the way up to $18 billion. Do you know how much total investment that was? The money came from 60 financial organizations around the world. Just think about how much people trusted FTX at that time. It was huge. And one of the standout stories about Sam was that he was known as a philanthropic billionaire. Back then, Sam would say, he didn't really care about being rich or anything. The money he made was just to donate, to make the world a better place. Sounds great, right? At that moment, he was basically wearing a halo, like, wow, he was seen as an angel. But it wasn't really like that, you know? Sam immediately got all the praise, and people asked, hey, Sam, did you really donate? But at that time, Sam really did donate. The money he gave away actually went to help poor kids. But that wasn't most of it. The majority of Sam's donations actually went to political parties. This made STS the sixth most significant political donor in the country in 2021, with donations from FTX reaching as high as a staggering 40 million United States dollars. And in 2022, they donated another $70 million. This made FTX the second most prominent financial supporter of the Democratic Party. At that time, Sam Bankman-Fried possessed such a vast amount of wealth that he was able to host a major event in the Bahamas. Then, just a month later, he went to Washington, D.C. and hired Mark Wetjen, a former CFTC commissioner who had the authority to regulate the derivatives market. And after Sam managed to hire Wetjen for just 1 month, Sam was able to get into Congress. He actually got a seat in Congress. And do you know what happened as a result of Sam getting into Congress? Well, it was exactly what he intended. He needed to have enough money and enough power to get in Congress and be the one negotiating and setting the rules for cryptocurrency. And of course, at that time, he succeeded. FTX, wow, once they got into that position, all the doors opened for them, whether it was in the United States, Europe, Japan, Africa, or Australia. And importantly, it seemed like Sam really intended for FTX to grow explosively and stand out on its own, because all those regions I just mentioned had banned Binance. But FTX, with all that going for them, it seemed like they were destined for success. So what on earth did they do to end up failing? To start things off, the first major point is that Sam Bankman-Fried had two separate companies, if you didn't know already. There was FTX, which is a crypto exchange, and Alameda Research, which does crypto trading. Now, is it weird for one person to have two companies? No, not at all, actually. It's totally normal and not illegal, unless those two companies were specifically designed and set up as a complex system to launder money for each other. So what did Sam do? He had one company as an exchange and another as a trading firm. He took information from the exchange, meaning from FTX, and gave it to Alameda to trade. To be honest, what Sam did wasn't exactly a secret. Sam was actually one of the few CEOs who got kicked out by his own staff, but he didn't leave. The person who tried to get him out was Tara McElroy, the former CEO of Alameda Research. And there were a lot of other employees who pointed the finger at Sam, saying he needed to step down because he was mismanaging finances and acting unethically. The big hole that Sam dug for himself, the one he created with his own hands, ended up being the thing that completely buried him. That was the launch of the token called FTT. To be fair, at that time, launching a token wasn't wrong, as long as you weren't planning to do anything illegal. Then, on July 2nd, 2019, FTX launched its own exchange token called FTT, with a total supply of 350 million tokens. But honestly, that number, 350 million tokens, didn't really mean anything. In reality, FTT was just money created out of thin air, what people at the time called internet magic money. It was money made up on the internet, and most importantly, they could create as many as they wanted. FTT was the same way. They could make as many as they liked. But since FTT was the token of FTX, and as I mentioned earlier, it was super famous and raised a ton of money, FTT became really popular. When it first launched, it was worth just a fraction of $1 per token, but then somehow it shot up to $84 per token, from basically zero. So if the price of the token skyrocketed like that, who do you think got rich the most? There's only one answer. It's the people who created the token. And honestly, I don't know what Sam was thinking back then, because not only did he dig his own grave with FTT, which, to be fair, he probably didn't realize at the time, but he also kind of shot himself in the foot by partnering with Binance. So on December 2nd, 2001, Sam teamed up with CZ to sell 20% of FTX shares to Binance. Honestly, these two were They were competitors, like I mentioned before, right? Whether it was in America, Japan, Africa, or Australia, it was all Binance's brand everywhere, but FTX wasn't affected. So do you really think CZ, this is just my personal opinion, do you really think CZ loved Sam? And do you think Sam loved CZ? That's probably not the case, right? Even at that time, FTX's own executives were saying, hey, why did we sell such a big stake to Binance? Why did we let Binance have so much power or influence, whatever it was, over FTX? 10%. And now let's skip ahead to 2021, when everything came to light. The stocks that CZ had bought before came back to really hurt FTX. Seriously, let me underline this. At that time, the stocks that CZ dumped, FTX paid back the full amount, $2.1 billion. But among that amount, a portion was in FTT. $550 million worth? That's no small amount, right? But at the time, Sam probably didn't realize that giving CZ that much FTT could actually topple FTX's throne. Because if CZ got that much FTT and really wanted to take down FTX, he could just dump it all at once. The price of FTT would definitely crash. And the problem with FTT crashing is that FTT is basically money that FTX created, right? But FTX used FTT as collateral, whether as collateral on their exchange or as backing for loans. Honestly, who even allowed them to use it as collateral in the first place? And do you know where the whole thing started to unravel? It all came to light when CoinDesk published this news back in May 2022. According to the accounting records, most of the assets on the FTX exchange were actually FTT coins that FTX themselves had issued. As for Alameda, they were in trouble too, because Alameda is a trading company, right? So when they trade, the money they earn could be any kind of money. It could be a reputable cryptocurrency or any fiat currency. But it definitely shouldn't be money that they themselves created. And at that time, what was being reported was that the value of Alameda Research was $14.6 billion, of which $3.66 billion was already in FTT coins. Plus, the company's assets, including the trading platform and everything else, were backed by FTT as well, up to another $2.16 billion. After that, CZ didn't waste any time. He had 550,000 FTT coins in hand, right? CZ straight up said he was going to dump his entire portfolio. And don't forget, if CZ dumps his whole portfolio, the likely outcome is that the price of FTX tokens will crash, right? Remember this theory, the bank run theory? Once one big player starts dumping, the smaller investors will follow suit. And it really happened. As soon as CZ dumped, the smaller investors immediately followed. On November 7th, 2022, the FTT token from the world's second largest exchange crashed so hard, there was no love left for it. It dropped by a whopping 96%. And that day, I don't know what Sam was thinking, but he called CZ directly and said, CZ, man, help me out. Please bail out FTX. So CZ said, okay. The next day, CZ sent a team to inspect FTX's company. I don't know if he was planning to help or to expose them, but they only spent half a day looking around. Then the news broke. CZ shook his head and said Binance couldn't do it. They wouldn't bail out FTX because Binance found a major loophole. They said, how could $8 million just disappear? Where did it go? No one could answer, so CZ said, nope, not doing it. After that, Sam Bankman-Fried had to file for bankruptcy. So yes, FTX went bankrupt in 2022. As for Sam himself, he fled to the Bahamas. But in the end, he couldn't escape the consequences. He was charged with 8 counts in total and sentenced to prison. At first, I was shocked. Who gets sentenced to 110 years in prison? But later, it was reduced to 25 years, right? Because at that time, investors lost so much money. As soon as people saw the numbers, it was billions of dollars. Just $1 billion, but if you add up all the impacts, the total damage was in the hundreds of billions of US dollars. At that time, some people lost so much that they were completely wiped out. No matter what happened back then, FTX has now come forward to take responsibility and has returned money to the investors who lost out at that time. Now, they've managed to return about 96%, which is almost everything. But you might ask, that's for foreign investors, right? What about Thai investors? 10. How about we meet? Do not know. Thank you for the fragrant coffee from Dash's Pan Trip.